Uh-oh. We got a presentation. I still could not find my
Let's see. I haven't got more.
She chose something different.
No, I chose that.
We ready? Good evening. This meeting is now called to order. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Lewis.
present and accounted for.
Trustee McFadden. Trustee Fulcher.
Here.
Trustee Thompson.
Here.
Trustee Williams.
Here.
Trustee Brooks. Present. Mayor Rudez.
I'm here, Madam Clerk. Please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 5 minutes.
Okay, save it.
Okay, is there anybody from the general public that would like to address any items on the agenda? If not, we're going to proceed forward. Looks like no. Business discussion items. Discussion item 518, discussion of annexation of TNS Trailer Pool, Inc., located at 3401
Here he comes with the sheet.
West University Parkway. Questions, anybody? We got someone here? TNS Trailer?
Yes, there should be
All righty.
somebody here. I believe it might be Matt Walsh. Matt? Okay.
Who's that again?
So just to open this up, this is for TNS Trailer Pool, which is located right here up on the block here. That trailer company, just so everyone's aware, they are not part of University Park. I had had discussions prior with the board about annexing certain properties and trying to be able to get those taxes into the village. This is one, they came to us, they're looking to do a solar in the back, and we asked them, would they please annex into the village? So they're currently an unincorporated Crete, and we have representatives here to answer any questions.
Unincorporated Will County.
Unincorporated Will County.
Thank you very much. My name is Nick Standiford. I'm a land use and zoning attorney at a law firm in the city in Chicago called Shane Banks. With me here tonight, we have Matt Walsh, who's the VP, Vice President of Business Development at Nexamp. You'll hear about Nexamp, the solar company that he works for. We have Marianne Jones. She's the VP of Workplace Development. She's here tonight. We have Emmanuel Byram. He's an associate of mine, a colleague of mine at Shane Banks, a land use attorney. We have Stan, who's the property owner right there, B-A-R-A-N, Baran is the last name. He owns the TNS Trailer Pool, the business that's located right here. If you look on this map, the business that he runs is located right there between the kind of the yellow parcel outline. So what we're here tonight is to discuss the proposed annexation of this parcel. You're not going to take a final vote on annexing the parcel tonight, but what we wanted to do is kind of explain what we'd like to do with this project and what the zoning relief we're going to need is. So it's going to come back before you later, and this tonight is a chance to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking to do. Basically, the property is currently being farmed. There's Stan owns 370 acres of property. Most of it is in University Park. There's a little portion in the yellow box there. Well, it's not a little portion. There's a significant portion there that's in Will County. So
In the south rear?
So that's in the northeast portion of the property. That's the little part that sticks into Will County. So what we're looking to do is take that whole parcel and bring it into University Park. And so that's a big piece of it. So there's 4 different projects. These are called community solar projects, and you'll hear about them tonight. And they're 5 megawatts each. So you see these little 5 boxes. Each one of those is a project. Each one of those is a big array of panels. So what we're going to do is, and in the northeast corner there is one of the big arrays. That's the part we're trying to annex into University Park. We'll also need to get special use permits for these projects, and that'll come before this board for review and approval, as well as the Plan Commission. The project, so the property is currently being farmed. All those little black boxes, those are all being farmed. The business that Stan runs is up there. You see the big building there. That's his business. The project will generate significant economic impact, including a very substantial increase in property taxes. Why is that? It's because the property is currently assessed as agricultural. Once you put a solar farm on it, the property tax is a lot higher. So University Park would claim, as well as the other taxing bodies, would claim a substantial portion of that increase in taxes. Last fall, Mr. Walsh met with the mayor as well as the village administrator. Thank you very much for the introduction there. And introduced this project kind of at an early stage. We've had calls with Village Attorney John Murphy regarding this project, and we look forward to working throughout the process. Last week, we applied for a special use permits for these different projects, and those will be heard by the Village Plan Commission next week. Matt Walsh he has a slide deck here to kind of give you an idea of who Nexamp is, why did they choose this site, and this is 110 acres they're looking to put panels on of this 300-acre assemblage. So why does Nexamp want these parcels? What's in it for University Park? What's in it for the residents? He'll go through all that, and we'll answer any questions you have, and really appreciate the chance to speak before you here tonight. So Matt, you want me to, you got it?
I got it. Okay. I do have handouts of it, paper copies, if that is helpful. Folder. Well, I'd like to start by thanking Mayor Rodez and the village trustees for hearing us tonight, taking your time to consider our project. Marion and I are going to kind of volley it back and forth. I'm going to start with a little bit of information about Nexamp and who we are and what we do. Nexamp was founded in 2007 by two Army veterans. They came back from tours of duty, felt like a lot of conflict was over natural resources, and started a small solar company in Massachusetts. Since 2007, Nexamp has grown substantially. We're now the largest, what we call community solar company in the U.S. We have projects from Maine to Hawaii and everywhere in between. We have 475 employees, and a couple of cool accolades that we had were voted #1 community solar company recently. We recently announced with Governor Pritzker our new headquarters in Chicago, so we have over 100 people that work in that office. And we made a couple of historic investments in domestic supply, investing in made in the USA solar systems. So in 2003, at the end of the year, we purchased 1.5 gigawatts of solar panels from a factory in Helene, called Helene in Iron Mountain, Minnesota. And then just recently, at the end of last year, made another large investment in 1.3 gigawatts of solar from a company called Silfab in South Carolina. So we have a huge supply of modules that represents hundreds of projects across the U.S., and we're proud to have our projects built with product made in the USA. So as I'd mentioned before, we started our office in Chicago in 2018. It was me and one other person, and we've since grown to over 100 employees in Chicago. We have more than 30 projects operating in Illinois and probably another 50 that are under construction right now. And we currently, our projects serve over 5,000 residents in the state. So there's people that are seeing real savings on their energy bill by participating in these solar projects, which we'll go over in a couple slides. And I just wanted to kind of lay the groundwork on what makes Nexamp different than a lot of solar developers. We work with landowners to get the leases signed, we develop the projects, we build them, we manage them long-term. So we're a long-term partnership with the communities we work in. We're not a developer that builds a project and then sells it to some third party and changes hands a lot, where you don't really know who your main point of contact is. And so just briefly, what is community solar? These are the types of projects that we're talking about. They're sometimes referred to as shared solar. And they're connected to the distribution grid, so the energy stays local. Folks can, what we call, subscribe to the project, where you are assigned a number of panels, and the energy that's produced by those panels, it shows up on your ComEd bill, so it offsets your electricity costs by getting your energy produced by solar panels. There's no sign-up fee. If you don't like our service, there's no exit fee. They're applied to your normal utility bill, and residents typically see a 15% discount on their electricity costs with this savings. And really kind of the genesis for community solar is not all businesses can get solar, or residents can get solar on their roof. Some people don't like the look of solar on their roof, financially burdensome, there's trees in the way, their roof can't structurally handle solar. This is a great way for people to participate in the savings and the benefits of solar without actually having to have solar on their roof. So I'll turn it over to Marion to talk a little bit about some of the investments we made in workforce development.
All right, good afternoon. Just before I get started with my slide, I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleague Matt to just say a word of appreciation for allowing us this opportunity to speak with you. I do want to talk about workforce development because that is the reason why I joined NexAmp as Vice President of Workforce Development. My strategic vision is always centered around how do we get people employed? How do we create these pipeline to employment opportunities in a growing industry for those that might otherwise be left behind? So my focus is always on environmental justice aspect of the business as well. I'm going to talk to you about a few success stories we've had during my first year, last year with NexAmp across the state after we made the commitment during the press conference that we had with Governor Pritzker and team in our Chicago office. So one of the things we talked about was how do we go into, in addition to the solar training programs that are being state funded across the state, how do we also expose individuals to other jobs that are available in the industry? Because we know we have those jobs where you're able to install solar panels, but we also have IT departments, so we're hiring drone pilots. We have marketing department, we have a legal team. And so my vision was, how do we inspire and empower individuals in our community to explore opportunities, all opportunities within the solar space? That vision led to us creating a partnership with City Colleges of Chicago, the first STEM-based solar fellowship of its kind in the nation. So we had success with that initiative last year, and what I hope to do if things move forward with this project is look at universities like Governor's State and be able to take that blueprint and replicate it so that we can also get individuals in this area educated on those opportunities as well. In addition to that, we also had a success last year because we became one of the first Department of Labor solar industry organizations that received our certification as an official apprenticeship employer. So if you know, and I'm sure just based off the vast amount of education and knowledge that you've had in the communities, the impact of an apprenticeship opportunity and what that can have in terms of not only just the wages, but how it could really shift the trajectory of someone's life. And so we are getting ready to launch the first cohort of that apprenticeship program in June of this year, where we will take in about 20 individuals. And so these models that we've had success with already in the state, in places like the Chicagoland area, are things we'd like to bring to this community and make sure that the individuals in this community are able to take advantage of those as well. So job creation is one of the most significant benefits of community solar expanding to an area. A couple of other things I placed on here. You know, we have roles that expand from entry-level roles to contractor support to jobs that allow individuals to elevate from a construction observer all the way up the pipeline to a construction manager. And so there are a number of different pathways on the engineering side of the business, on the project management side of the business, and again, as I was explaining earlier around the drone pilots, the technology side of the business, making sure that people in the community are tech savvy enough to take advantage of these opportunities as well. And so I just highlighted on this slide, and I won't spend any longer because I know my time is wrapping up, but I just wanted to highlight some of those efforts as well on the slide, and happy to take questions if time or the agenda allows.
What Marion doesn't give herself credit for is with the announcement of our new headquarters, we committed to 3,000 new jobs in the state of Illinois, so she has a lot of work to do. Before I dive into the site plan, I just wanted to go over a couple of pieces of equipment that you'll see on the site plan and kind of familiarize yourself with solar. So in the center of each solar array is an equipment pad. That's where a transformer and inverter sits. That's kind of the brains of the operation, and it's the only piece that really makes any noise. There's a little bit of a few fans on top of the inverter that sound like a refrigerator, and when they're located in the center of the site, they're not audible at the property boundaries. We plan to plant native pollinator plants under the arrays, so that will help attract wildlife and birds and bees and butterflies. And then just a quick image of solar panels mounted on steel piles that are driven into the ground, and then the type of fencing that we typically use on solar arrays. And these are panels that do rotate with the sun very slowly, so they will rotate east to west on those piles that are driven into the ground. There's a few cameras that'll be installed on the site, so we have 24/7 sort of view of what's going on in the site, and just a side profile of those arrays that sit on top of the metal piles. So just a couple of projects that are nearby. This one is completed about a year ago, shows pollinators with ag fields surrounding it. This gives you a sense of the size of each one of the arrays that's in there. For this particular project, each array is about 22 acres. This one's 16, so it's a pretty good comparable. And then one that's on Goodnow Road in Beecher, so not too far away, 19 acres. This one was planted with grass, so you can kind of see the difference in the vegetation, pollinators versus just mowed grass. And then to just dive in a little bit to where the project's located relative to where we are right now. So this site is at the southeast quadrant of Stager, Money Road, and University Parkway. And the projects are located kind of in the center of TNS Co's property. So originally when we had met with Elizabeth and Mayor Rodez, we had anticipated or looked at a much bigger project that almost entirely used the entire property. But after we completed some studies and started looking at setbacks, we decided to kind of condense the projects to the center of the site and keep the arrays as far away from residential uses or the right-of-way as possible. So this kind of goes a closer view. There's 4 projects that are kind of all right in the center of the site. They're approximately 22 acres each, with a few being larger and a few being smaller. And we've tried to kind of keep everything right in the center there. Just a couple of key highlights on the site. So like Nick had mentioned, including the access road to get back to the site, some buffers along the edge of the array. The entire development would be about 110 acres. Inside of each fence line, which is depicted in the black, is about 22 acres within each fence line. The project lifespan, we consider this a temporary use, so I'll talk in later slides about the deconstruction of the projects, but they're removable. We don't use concrete except for the equipment pad in the center of the site, so everything's removable, goes back to ag land after the project reaches the end of its life, which is expected to be 30 to 40 years. So long-term use, but temporary in nature. And this is the site plan that we had developed. And just to give you a little bit more detail, the access to the site off of University Parkway, all the wires for the project will be buried underground with the exception of a couple of utility poles that ComEd will need to install to host protective equipment for their system. And I've included a chart here that kind of shows the generous setbacks from all the adjacent uses. So from University Parkway, the nearest solar panel is 790 feet. From Moni Stager Road, it's 270 feet. From the east property line, over 850 feet. And then from the south property line, 134. But those are some residential uses, and they are kind of at the south end of their properties, which gives us about a 1,200-foot setback from any residential use. So very generous relative to Will County standards that only require 50-foot setbacks from property lines. So we're being mindful of keeping the solar arrays as far away from the property lines as possible. And we have done a bunch of due diligence on the site. So we have a lease executed with the landowner. We've completed surveys, utility studies. State Historic Preservation has signed off on the project. We've completed endangered species reviews with IDNR and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. We completed wetland delineations, drain technical reports. We're currently working on an approval from BP Pipeline because there is a pipeline that runs through the site. And we've submitted to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to sign off on our wetland report. And then kind of the most exciting part about this project is the benefits to the community. And we had talked before about the energy savings that if residents choose to sign up for the project, that they'll realize on their energy bills. But there's a few other things, right? There's grid stabilization, electricity cost stabilization, environmental benefits of solar projects. But really the big thing is the taxes are generated. So currently, doing the math on this 110 acres, it generates about $5,500 a year in taxes total. That will be increased to over $240,000 in year one. And then kind of flipping over to the other side of the chart, the aggregate of the 40 years of taxes under its current use would yield about $400,000 in taxes. With the solar on it, it'll increase taxes to about $6.5 million. Of that, Crete-Moni School District gets a big chunk of that, about $3.5 million. And under the current tax regime, University Park would realize a little over $2 million. And then the last slide that I have is just a little bit about how do we remove the project? So one of the requirements, and we've submitted to the Illinois Department of Agriculture what they call an agricultural impact mitigation agreement. That requires us to put a bond up with University Park to ensure that if something goes sideways, there's money for the village to go in there and hire somebody to remove everything. One of the benefits of going with a company like Nextamp, we're the largest community solar company, we're very well capitalized, very low likelihood that we wouldn't operate this for 40 years, but there is funds in place that University Park could exercise and remove the system if we violated any part of our agreement. And then part of the Department of Agriculture's agreement that we'll execute is that we have to remove the system, we have to return the site back to farmland, and so we take a lot of precautions when we're developing the project to protect drain tile, to make the system as easily removable at the end of the life of the project. And so we take a lot of precautions to make sure that it's returned back to its former use. So with that, I will conclude. Nick may have some closing remarks, and then we can take any questions.
Okay, I'll keep my closing remarks really brief. So that's a lot of information, right? I've sat through maybe 50 of these hearings for solar farms all through the state of Illinois. They're usually in counties. They're not often in municipalities, right? Because municipalities have tighter borders than counties do. So this is a unique opportunity to have 4 projects all in one municipality. So we were really excited to come here and there was a slide there about all the different studies that these guys have done for this project. They've invested a ton of money already to see whether this site works for a solar farm, and it does. And so that's really great. And so about solar every time I come to a solar farm hearing. So with that said, you probably have a lot of questions still, and our job is to answer those. So if you have questions tonight, we're happy to answer them. If you have questions after tonight, our information is on the application. I think it may also be in the slides. Please ask us questions. We think we'll answer anything. But we want to educate about what the benefits of solar farms are and why they're good for this town. So with that, if there's any questions or comments or concerns, we're happy to address them tonight or anytime in the future.
Hi, everybody. Now, some of these questions you might have already answered, but I need to hear them again. So, since you've done this before, what are going to be the environmental impacts to having this solar farm? Are they going to be health impacts to people, or is it far enough away, or what would be the environmental impacts? Do you have a study?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So the solar panels that we use are not environmentally toxic. They're tempered glass like the windshield of a car, and sandwiched in between is silicon wafers that are like the most abundant resource on Earth, is silicon. So it's common everyday stuff that you would find that is used in these solar panels. They're enclosed by a metal frame that seals everything in, so there's no liquid in them, they don't leak, there's no environmental contamination risk, but we can bring studies. We have several more meetings to go through this process, and we'd be happy to provide those studies at the future meeting or supplement to staff.
So, and then let me just add one thing. So there was a slide about the flowers they're putting in, those pollinators. Mm-hmm. Those are really good for the environment. And when you farm the land, the land gets tired. You put pesticides and insecticides on it. What this does is you put this natural, basically a new ecosystem in with butterflies, things like that, which is really good for the land. It lets it rest. So it's I would say it's environmentally a positive on the land. Okay,
so let me piggyback on that one. So once in 40 years, maybe I might still be here, I don't know. Once it's all removed, will any remediation be needed to the land?
So
I mean, to keep it.
Yeah.
I know you said it was going to be a bond.
Yeah. So there's metal piles that are driven into the ground. All the solar panels will be removed and recycled, and the metal will be recycled as well. And then we'll have to till the land. We'll have to decompact it and return it back to farmland. But there's no contaminants that'll be in the soil afterwards, or even during the operation of the system.
Okay. One more question.
Sure.
Other than increased taxes, what benefits are available to the village to lower our own energy costs?
Village can certainly subscribe to the project, and you will get credits on your ComEd bill, and those credits are discounted, so you would save money on your monthly electric costs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Thank you, Mayor. Oh, no, you go ahead, trustee. Ladies first.
Thank you, trustee. So you said the equipment pads, they kind of make noise. So there are residents that live right near the farm. How loud is the noise?
Yeah, so that's why we centrally locate them in the middle of the site. The noise is about what a refrigerator sounds like. So not very loud. And when you measure thousands of feet to a residence, it's not audible, right? So like, imagine your refrigerator in your house, like you probably can't hear it outside your front door.
Can you go back to that slide, Matt, with the inverter? So the big box that you saw, they put that in basically, you want to show them where they put that? They don't put it on the edge of the property. They try to stick it in the middle.
Yeah, so there would be one equipment pad here, one here, one here, and one here. So one equipment pad for each site.
That's the only thing that makes noise. It's not a big amount at all. Yep, that's it right there.
Yeah, that's what. Oh.
Yes, sir. If we can go to the map, I just want to, the location of it, I just want to see, is that the part, I was trying to get it, zoom in as much as possible, where the old airport runway, is that where it's at? Okay, that's question one, okay. In which that is, I don't know if anyone knew, that was a runway back there. And it's very, very well hidden back. The next, who would get the electricity, such as I am a Regal Farm resident? Would that come that far over into our town, on the south end of town, southeast side of town?
So the energy that's produced gets put on the distribution grid, and I like to say the grid is like a river, and we're like a stream of electrons adding on to that. Wherever the power is being demanded, that's where it flows. As far as the subscribers that can benefit from this, ComEd does allow us to subscribe anyone in their territory. So it doesn't matter if you're right next to the project or 50 miles away. They will give you those benefits if you decide to subscribe to it. But we do try to keep, they're very popular. Our subscriptions usually sell out before we even start operation of the project. So we would like to offer that to village residents first, and then we can work our way out to if it doesn't fill the projects up.
Explain how they do that. They do it on a website or?
Yeah, we have a website, but we do like to work potentially with the village to, in like a water bill or any other mailing that goes out, to market that this is available and it's not required, but you can sign up if you want to save money to reach residents. Otherwise, our website has a nice page that helps people sign up.
Yeah, it probably would have to be the village itself, because, yeah, water bill is not a popular word in University Park with Aqua. I noticed you had on here protective barrier. What type of protective barrier? Outside, I noticed, let me go back to, yeah, where it says all wires be underground to the point of interconnection except for several pieces of protective equipment as required by code and utility. What kind of
Yeah, so
equipment
there
would
will
that
be
be?
a couple of new poles installed on the private property that ComEd will install a meter on one, and on another pole they'll install what they call a recloser, which is essentially a giant fuse, to make sure we don't send too much power to them or they don't send too much power to us, so neither of our equipment are damaged. So that's the pieces of equipment that it's for grid protection and electrical protection of our system.
Okay. And you all were recruited by the landowner, is that correct? And you decided to come to University Park? How did that come about?
Yeah, so one of our business partners reached out to Stan and identified the property as a good candidate, and then we worked together to come to a lease agreement. So he will continue to retain ownership, and we will just be renting from him.
Okay.
Really interesting about these solar farms is you need all the right conditions, right? You need to have like the right power lines near the site. You need to have it be close to a substation, electric substation to send the power to. And you need to have a landowner who wants to do the solar farm lease. So they have a mapping system that finds, okay, where can we put these solar farms? And they got to then apply to ComEd to say, can we interconnect with you, ComEd? And then they send all these letters out to landowners who they want to look at for sites. And so I think that they probably sent a letter to this landowner, and he replied back, said, yeah, I'll do the lease on the solar farm. Just tell me where to sign.
I know him, he's a good guy. Been a while since I've seen him, but yeah, he's a good guy. I know him, yeah. All right, I yield my time, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Trust, she can finish her last one.
How does Nexamp get paid? Do they get paid from the people who subscribe, or from ComEd, or how does that work?
Yep, so the way we make money is we put the we generate electricity, you get credit for it on your bill, and you pay us back for 85% of that value, so it yields a 15% savings for the customer. So essentially, we're not delivering electricity to your house necessarily, but it's a way that we're selling the electricity to customers through a sort of financial mechanism. So we sell credit, we put credits on people's ComEd bills, so you're assigned, say, 5 solar panels of this array. Whatever energy that's generated by that, you would get credit for that on your ComEd bill. So in my case, I'm a subscriber. I've had months where my ComEd bill's 0, and then I owe NextAmp, 85% of what my bill would have been to ComEd. We don't get paid by ComEd, the customer pays us, the subscriber.
So the person that has your system would pay a fee monthly?
Yes, essentially, yep. That's equivalent to how much credit you get for your solar.
How would that impact people that already have solar panels on their home?
This is an optional program, so nobody has to sign up for this. If you already have solar panels on your home, you're probably already getting the maximum benefit you can from solar. So you wouldn't subscribe to this project.
So literally you're buying those solar panels over time?
We don't charge any fee to get in, so you're just buying the electricity that's being generated by the solar panels.
There has to be a fee that you pay monthly to the company that provides you with solar panels.
Thank you, ComEd.
So
Yeah,
the
so,
bill may be 0 from ComEd.
yeah, but then you'd be paying NextAmp.
But you got to have a fee that you get or somebody gets.
It's the electricity costs. You're paying for the electricity that we're generating, and that's how we make the money.
What's the average cost?
It depends. We size it based on, we look at your historical usage of your home. And for me, I think on my house, I think monthly I pay NextAmp like $60, and my bill for ComEd is normally like $80.
No, there's another fee that has to be paid.
All right, excuse me, I'm not to cut you off, but we got a trustee that's waiting to go. We're gonna gotta take her turn, and then we'll get any questions from the audience at the next time.
Oh, pardon me.
So for this endangered species study that you did, I know there's a lot of deer in that area. So by taking up that space, have y'all done a study on where those deer are going to end up going? Because we're seeing a lot in the community now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did do a study and approved by IDNR and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Interestingly enough, deer can jump pretty high, and we find them inside of our solar array quite often. There's a lot of new growth that's going to be in there with these pollinators that they tend to like to eat. So it's
Stuff
not
that
really,
they love.
Yeah, not really. We didn't really see that we're forcing them out into other places.
Okay. Just wanted to know, I mean, since you said y'all did this endangered species study, it should consist of that wildlife that's in the particular area, because like you said, if you're going to put pollinators there, that's going to draw additional wildlife, because that's exactly what they want. So within that particular area, because we do have a very heavy deer population here in University Park and surrounding, so I just wanted to make sure that's taking up a lot of land that they might have used to be, and so they're going to have to go other places. So I would like to see like that study.
Okay.
And then also, each one of the, supposed to be for community projects, based off of the Illinois regulations, like 5 megawatts each. So how is it where you can put, I understand each one is a separate project, but they still right exactly next to each other?
Yep, so we would have liked to have done one big project, but the way that what they call the Illinois net metering tariff is written, it only allows projects to be a maximum of 5 megawatts. So you can do multiple 5 megawatt projects, but you can't do more than 5 megawatts on as a single project.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. They have a regulation for a reason. I just didn't know I haven't had a chance to do that research to see what is their reasoning to say that it shouldn't be more than 5 in one particular area? So I just wanted to know.
2 years ago, it was 2 megawatts, but you could do multiple 2 megawatt projects, and then they changed it to 5. I think they just picked a round number to make that.
Right, but I mean, I understand, but they do have some type of study. So I just didn't know if you all knew what that would be for them to say that it should be only a max per particular project, but you are making the projects exactly right on top of each other.
Yeah,
So,
it does seem like a workaround.
Yes.
I think that's not the legal term for it, but that's what these folks are doing all over the state.
Okay.
And what's driving a lot of this is the state of Illinois passed a law that says by 2050, they want Illinois to be 100% renewable energy. So that's the goal, is to get a lot of these solar projects online, get away from the coal, the dirty power, and then, because we're not really building any new nuclear plants. And all these data centers are coming in, and the costs are, and there's growing electricity. My wife is, on the TV for Netflix every, probably right now, and everyone in our neighborhood. So there's a lot of power people need, and they gotta get it from somewhere. So that's where the solar projects come in play.
okay. And then, like they were saying, the next AMP is really, it supports multiple communities because anybody can sign up, subscribe to the program. So this solar farm is supporting not just our particular area, but it supports all areas because it's generated that energy, right?
Yeah, we expect this to produce enough electricity to serve about 4,000 homes. So obviously, not everyone in University Park is going to sign up for the project. We will be supporting other communities with these savings, but University Park will be getting the tax revenue, and nobody else, no other adjacent villages will get to participate in that.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, did I hear you say this will be going to the Plan Commission? Or no?
Yes.
And what is that, next week? Yes, on the 20th. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Great presentation. Looking forward to see what happens next week at the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Yeah. You guys have in front of you 3 different items. In your board packet is our engagement letter in relation to the financial statements, because within our standards, it requires that when we prepare financial statements, even though we're pulling it directly from your guys' own accounting software, we are required to have a separate engagement letter in relation to those financial statements that we prepare for you guys. Then the second one is our standard engagement, which is a little longer. And then the last one would be our rates. Our engagement letter, it's about 15, 16 pages long. Basically, it's similar to what we're currently doing. There's no change in that. If any of you guys do choose at a later date that you guys do not want our firm to continue doing the accounting work, there is, of course, with 30-day notice, and both parties can walk away. No harm, no foul. I guess, is there any questions?
Well, we kind of just getting this information, Chris.
The engagement letters were all, the financial statement ones were in your board packet. The other 2, for whatever reason, they did not show up in your board packet. I did send them to Liz, and Liz for inclusion in the board packet.
So I really just need time to read through it. We just got them.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, let me do this. Chris, you were not here when we first brought in John Kasparek, I guess the question, this does not say that you all are doing bad work or anything like that. I'm just curious, how did the work get expanded so far with you all? Because originally it was $60,000 a year, and now you guys are busy as heck. If someone can just bring me back to put me back, and which, well, again, I'm not complaining, but it is a good question because I noticed that there was a lot of work that needed to be done when one person was no longer part of the finance or director of finance, whatever you want to give her that title. I do know, I would say that, am I accurate, that's when we had to take this role?
Well, yeah, as we expanded to doing more of to assisting with the managerial side of your guys' finances through investing of your funds, processing your payroll, preparing financial statements, and those types of things, posting, reconciling all of your accounts, and taking over more of those items, that's how our role has expanded and greater. We're getting more involved in union negotiations, and those types of items. Doing that is what expanded us from when we first came in all those years ago to what we're doing now. Because when we first came in, the main goal of what we were supposed to do was just get you guys all caught up with your audits. Now we are not only doing that, we are working on your TIF reports, processing your payroll, being part of union negotiations, reviewing your guys' all of your policies, TIF reports, investing funds. I'm thinking I'm missing something. The retro calculations.
Do me a favor, yeah, put that mic, because it's election season, and the reason why I'm asking, because I feel it coming when I hit back the streets tomorrow.
So there were payroll issues and things that were not properly accounted for, so we had to go back into that. And that's where it was essentially peeling back the onion.
Okay, so, well, let me ask this question, because it has been asked, how far away are we from a director of finance?
Just depends on when we get someone who's truly qualified. We've had people who have never had government finance, a lot of those people. And we've even had people who applied who told us that they were under investigation from other communities for 2 separate investigations for taking money. While we appreciate that person was transparent, I have grave concern about bringing that person on. I did some fact-checking and called, and sure enough, they were under some situations. So we've been getting those kind of people, and I'm really trying to get people that are going to come in, do the right thing, that really know what they're doing, and we're not here to train anybody. And that's kind of been a lot of the issue that I run into, is getting people that we don't have to train, that have the knowledge, that know about TIF reporting, that know about reconciling, that understand that they are the expert for finance for the community, and that's been
I will also say on that concept, the accounting industry as a whole has suffered significantly from a shortfall. There is a significant drop in accountants coming out of college. Even us as accounting firm, we are having a hard time finding people to hire because there are a lot less and less accountants actually going to school for being an accountant.
Right. And I'm glad you asked that, because I was about to ask Ms. Scott. I've been blessed to be around in politics long enough that word does travel. So, and I heard, because one person I do know, you just mentioned, and I won't mention the town they're from and the towns they've been to, but is that what we continue to see, and that's why the director of finance seat is empty? Because we've seen it over, we're looking right at it in Dalton. There were people that went from Riverdale to Dalton, Harvey to Dalton. Then when it didn't work out in Dalton, for some reason they say, let's skip south. Like they run into Mexico, like University Park is like Mexico. We cross the border and they won't know who we are in University Park. Is that what you're kind of running into? I think that part needs to be really spoken and told the truth. Because I've seen two people, they wanted to come work here, and apparently it was caught and you all did not hire them, but is that the problem that's really what we run into? Because it's almost like police officers. They run from department to department, but they're no good. And right now, law enforcement, we're crumbling with true lateral police officers compared to when it was in the 90s. Is that the same thing we're running with the finance for people coming here to try to be a finance director?
Do run into that. I mean, you see it in the city. You know, you'll have officers that get in trouble with the county, and then they come out to these municipalities. And unfortunately, when you're not paying, you're not competitively, paying, and the other factors, the talent tends to go places where it's a little easier, where, municipalities function. There may be not as much work involved. So you do get a combination of that. But it is hard. You don't get people that go to college for government finance. And so that in itself is a specialized field, government finance, totally separate from any other kind of financing. So
I can tell you when I went to college, I had 3 classes, but there was no specific for government accounting. I had 3 classes because I knew I would need it for my CPA exam.
Right.
But otherwise than that, there wasn't a class that actually teaches governmental accounting.
Well, let me ask this. Will the contract, or will this change if we do get a finance with this? It would come back. We have a, I know we didn't get a chance to look at
yes.
30 days.
And I've even spoken to Chris about the types of things that I want him to be able to do to train that person, to kind of hand over the key, so to speak, and show them the ropes, even if they do have experience. And my hope is that there's going to be a period where they're kind of just, it's almost a transition period, where you have someone come on board and you just, review everything, and then they take on over the reins. So hopefully they'll be back in the background when we get somebody that can really handle it. And they're cleaning up a lot of stuff. So when they come in, I don't expect they're going to come into what we came into. So.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure, that what we started, that I appreciate John coming in and you all doing, it didn't finally mean you, Chris, but you guys come in, you do what you do, but then as everything, nothing lasts forever. And when that moment comes, John Casper Group has done UP some good. How would that relationship change? And I just want to make sure that at minimum it goes back to what it was when you came to us in 18? Was it 18?
17 or 18.
17
You
or
came
18.
in under John Pate.
John Pate, right. So I yield my time on that, Mayor.
I just want to say something. First of all, I don't never want to lose Chris. I'm so serious. And then the other thing,
I do have a team, and I want to give them credit as well. I can't do what I do without them, so I do want to say thanks to them.
and then we have to think back to the time that we had a former village manager who we were paying $4,000 to $6,000 a month to do the tips, only to find out she wasn't doing them, the attorney was doing them. So we have to look at this big picture. People were getting 1099s when they should have been getting W-2s. Yep. So we have gone through a lot. We're still paying penalties. And I just want to thank you all for what you all are doing, because we needed to clean up City Hall, and that's what y'all are doing. Thank you.
Just one quick one, Trustee. So these rates, what percentage did it go up?
3%.
Or did it stay the same? 3%?
3%.
Okay.
And those will go effective May 1st, assuming you guys want us to continue, May 1st.
Can we get a breakdown of the total amount that we paid in 2024? Is that what's on the budget for our Casper Group? As in how much you all received total for everything in 2024?
I can get you that information.
Okay. And I'm gonna look over, you said 3% was the increase, so I'll look over the rest of it.
Yep. Yeah.
We can move forward. I'm still going to read over it, but if I have questions, it'll be at the regular board meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I appreciate the billing either way, Mayor. So thank you all very much for taking the time to let me present. I've met Ms. Scott and the mayor a few times. I was here at the housing event that the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus put on, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk about the work we do at the South Suburban Land Bank. I'm Joe Van Dyke. I am the executive director. I've been with the Land Bank about 3 years. We are operated in partnership with the Southland Development Authority, which is a large organization that does any number of economic development projects, small business planning, municipal consulting, that sort of thing. But the Land Bank is a standalone intergovernmental agency. We'll get to that in one moment. So what is the Land Bank? The Land Bank was founded in 2012. It's the first land bank in the state of Illinois. There's about 9 of them now. And what we do is we work with member municipalities. There's 29 in all over South Cook County and Will County, to come together on regional approaches to deal with vacant and abandoned and underutilized properties. So most of these are severely tax delinquent. Almost all of them are abandoned or vacant in some form. Many of them are in some state of disrepair. We work on empty land. We work on commercial buildings, but our bread and butter is mostly housing. How does it work? So the way that we're empowered, we're a government agency that is empowered through a series of intergovernmental agreements. So when one of those 29 cities or villages signs on to join the Land Bank, what they say is we're going to share our municipal authority to go after vacant and abandoned properties. So most of that's through the abandonment statute, which is essentially condemnation, but also we share the power to buy and sell property in your community, to board them up, and to get them back to productive use. So in your packets, and presumably what will be up for a vote, will be an intergovernmental agreement, which says, yes, University Park wants to be included in the South Suburban Land Bank and Development Authority. A second abandonment agreement saying not only do we want to be a part of the regional approach, but we'd also like to work directly with the land bank to identify properties in our community that we can work together on to get back to productive use. And then third, you appoint a board member. Most of our board members are either mayors, trustees, village managers, some community development directors, and building commissioners. These are our municipal members. Our voting members mean they got all 3. Some of these are areas where we've operated and a board member, a mayor, got termed out or they never reappointed somebody. But these are the 29 communities in which we've worked in the past. We are very, very active right now. I think we have 76 properties that we're actively acquiring. Cal Park, Cal City, South Holland, Hazel Crest, Richton Park and Park Forest just north of you guys, Crete, Stager, we're all over. This is what we do. This is the meat and potatoes. What the Land Bank does, we acquire title to distressed properties. Because we're a government agency, we eliminate back taxes, liabilities, claims, liens, mortgages against the property so they have clean title. We board them up and secure them. We mow the lawn. We get the raccoons out of the roof. And we maintain them. And then the most important thing we do is we evaluate them. A huge value add for most of the municipalities we work on. This is all we do is vacant properties. So if you have a small legal department that can't take these through the judicial process, if you have a code enforcement or building department that's got to deal with building permits all the time, vacant properties are a huge drag. We saved Park Forest 35% on their maintenance costs last year because we got 27 properties back up and running. And those were all deleterious prior to that. So once we evaluate the property, we decide, are we going to actively market this right away? We have a bunch of local realtors that we use. If University Park has realtors you'd like us to use in your community, we're super open to that. We try to match them with someone who has the wherewithal to buy the property and fix it up. And we vet them, make sure they have the financial wherewithal, make sure they have a good scope of work, and then we have an inspector that goes and makes sure they do their work. Sometimes we'll pay to rehab it ourselves. We'll see there's mold, we'll get that out of there, we'll do environmental remediation, we'll patch up the roof, we'll get all of the moldy drywall out, tear it down to the studs, take out the cloth wiring, whatever, and get it in a position where a rehabber can take it the rest of the way. And recently we've been fixing them up ourselves with our own crew, in-house board up, and we have been subbing out some of the smaller jobs as well, using all local contractors to the extent we can. Finally, we get them back on the tax rolls most of the time. I think last year we returned, I want to say $480,000 in taxes to the communities we serve. Those were all negatives. Here are just a couple of our projects that I'll end on. This is Aberdeen Street in Calumet Park. On the left, this is pretty much our bread and butter. We identified a vacant home. We worked with Mr. Corona, the building commissioner, Ms. Rainey, the administrator, Mayor Denson, got a list of 16 properties in partnership with Cook County. And on the right, my guy Sam fixed that up and sold it at a profit, and now it's back on the tax rolls and a family's living in that house. That was all done probably year to year, maybe 11 months total in that picture. This is 4343 Lincoln Highway. This is in Matheson. This is a 60,000 square foot medical office facility that's been vacant for like 10 years. We worked with the Village of Madison pretty closely to make sure that they had a say in who got it. We fixed up a fair amount of it, put about $200,000 to get fire safety back up and running, fixed the facade, and found a buyer. It's a nursing agency that has, I think, 8 locations all over the south suburbs, and now they're going to continue to do stuff and rent out the rest of it. And Matheson was very happy with that. And then finally, this is our first in-house rehab. This is 345 Miami Street in Park Forest. At the end of the month, we're having an open house. We're still putting the finishing touches. But this was all done through our board-up crew. They had done enough work that we said, you know what the hell, give it a go. Let's see what we can do fixing up ourselves. The village loved it because they know we're going to pull permits. They know we're going to follow up with them. They know we're going to do everything that they ask. And of course, the neighbors loved it because you had a vacant home. I think this was vacant for like 8 to 12 years. Now it's back up. We're going to sell it. Someone's going to live there. Home values go up within 300 feet of that house by 6% on average. So that's what the land bank does. I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is sort of a growing movement, and I'm really proud of the work that our team's done.
Okay, well, we didn't get a chance to read through this, unfortunate. Again, we just got the packet. I would like to know, how long is your contract?
We don't have a contract. It's an intergovernmental agreement.
Oh,
You
it's
can
an
opt in or opt out whenever you like.
agreement. Okay,
And
and
there's no
how,
cost for anything to the municipalities. We're a government agency.
how soon do they begin to work on those homes? Will it be a year from now, 2 years? Do they have a set date, a timeline?
We
When-
usually have a reverter deed, so we'll put a mortgage on the property, and you say you have 12 months to get it up to code per village standards, whatever village or city you're in. Sometimes we go faster than that, sometimes slower than that. It really just depends on the municipality and what you want, the state of the property. Some of these are taking no time to fix up, others are in pretty serious state of
Sure.
disrepair.
Okay. I appreciate what you all are doing.
Appreciate that, thank you.
So, okay. So it was good to hear from one of the things that you said, that the list that you received was board approved, one of the cities, so they had a total of like 16 properties or so, I believe you said, and based off of the board. So is that how it goes? The village and the land bank work together to determine which properties that should be a part of this land bank, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So our board is going to approve this, correct?
Your board is going to appoint somebody to represent the Village of University Park.
Right.
To decide on which properties they are.
Correct.
Okay.
And usually how it works is they'll refer us to your building commissioner, Ms. Scott, and 9 out of 10 times they're like, there's this house on 123 Main Street, there's this house on 125 Park Street, let's get to those right away. And then you or your representative would send me an email, we put it in writing, saying these are the ones we'd like you to start on, and then we'll work collaboratively with your code enforcement department to get those inspected and get them through the process.
Right, but you were saying that you work with the village to determine actually what goes into, for instance, I'm not talking just about homes, because homes, we know what they're going to be used
Sure.
for, single-family homes. So I'm talking about properties, for instance, one of our village properties, for instance. That would be something that our board would have to approve who comes into that particular space first, correct?
Again, that would be your board representative.
So just the representative would be the only one to say, yes, this is what I want.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I would also say that we operate pretty closely with the municipalities. There's nothing that's going to happen in your community that we're doing that you don't know about. That's why a lot of times elected officials, community development directors, village administrators are the representative on the land bank board, because that, you know, they're sort of the head of the spear and they get the word out to everybody else.
This is not in regards to you, but just in general, I would say this is it's a good program for properties, but I would be cautious. I wouldn't want it to be where it has anything to do with the village properties. So I wouldn't, I'm putting it out there, that the village properties, I would like for the board to continue to determine what goes in those particular spots if they end up selling. So that would be out there for everybody to know. I wouldn't want just one representative to say, this is what we want this particular building to be. For instance, the cable studio over there is kind of like abandoned in a way. So that's one of our properties. I believe it fits into the criteria, but I wouldn't want just one individual representative to be the one to determine what goes there. So is it something, attorneys or whatever, that we could put into this intergovernmental agreement to exclude certain properties?
That's sort of outside of our scope.
That's why I said attorney.
Yeah, there's no
Attorney
city
Frazier.
property that we would ever have any control over. The only properties we have are land bank properties.
Right, I'm asking Attorney Frazier if that's something. I know, that's why I said it's not, that's why I said at the beginning that it have nothing to do with him. I'm just throwing that question out there in reference to you, because that'll help me determine whether or not I would want it to move forward or not. If this is something that we can put in to exclude, or we could come up with something to say that we wouldn't want the village properties to be included. Or if we do, I don't know if that's what the board wants.
That's not something that you would put into their intergovernmental agreement.
Not there in the government, but something separate. This is a side conversation since we're talking about this, that's all.
But it wouldn't be it would just be, that's something that's a consensus that you as a board would have to come to as far as how, that has nothing to do with this agreement, though.
I know it has nothing to do with the agreement, but with the agreement, it comes with a selection of one individual board member who's going to determine what these things are going to be. So a part of the intergovernmental agreement is, like you just said, finding out the locations, appointing a board member. It was 3 things. So within there, I have one issue with the one thing, which is I want to make sure that whoever is the appointee is, which that's the board deciding on who that person would be, that I just wouldn't want our village properties to be in there. So like I said, that's a side note. It has nothing to do with you or the intergovernmental agreement, but we're having the conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell me again how you acquire these properties? Are they tax delinquent, abandoned?
Sure.
And then who owns them, the land bank?
The land bank owns them. So Usually what we'll do, the two most common ways are the municipality comes to us and says, here's a vacant house across from an elementary school. If we get this inspected, can you take care of it? Or we come and we say, we've looked at the list of things that have been tax delinquent for 5 years. We've looked at things that haven't had a water bill in 5 years. We'll take it to your public works director, we'll take it to your building department and say, are you familiar with these properties? And they're like, oh yeah, well, these are long abandoned. That's typically how we do it. Then we'll get them inspected. That gives us evidence that we could take it to court, and a judge says this is abandoned. What that means is, through the court process, anybody who's ever had an interest in the property, anyone's got a lien on the property, anyone's in the chain of title who's ever owned it, has an opportunity to come forward and claim it.
Like the bank?
Exactly right.
Okay.
And if nobody claims it, then the land bank's awarded that property and we get to work.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't our code enforcement have a record of those things as well? I'm speaking to the attorney or mayor. Yeah, of those properties, okay.
With the towns that, the other towns I represent that deal with the land bank, that's my understanding of who really deals with the, deciding. It's the building commissioner, the building directors, because they're the ones that have the more intimate knowledge as far as those dilapidated properties that really need addressing, so.
All right. Now you finished? You got something else? See, mic's on, that's why I asked you that.
No, it's still on. I just wanted to
Okay. Good
get that information. Yeah, yes.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pleasure.
Mayor, trustees, thank you very much. Back in '22, our dispatch center decided to go a different route with our radio communication. We were currently on VHF, and they're going to the 800 megahertz, which essentially makes the radio transmissions go a lot further. In December of this year, we have to be 100% compliant with our radios being on the 800 megahertz. So we need to purchase some radios, and then the second part is our CAD. That is like our backup to our radio system. If something should happen, our radios go down, we can still communicate with our dispatchers. So we can still see the calls coming in. We also get a live feed from the dispatchers telling us what's going on with the situation. So we constantly get updates. Unfortunately, December is our cutoff date, and we are not compliant at this time.
How soon will we be compliant?
So with ordering radios as soon as possible, it takes a few months for the radios to actually come in. Motorola's been running about 4 months just to get radios in.
Oh, so they're behind too. I mean, it takes that long to get the radios.
It just takes that long to get the radios, then they have to be sent out to be programmed, and then they have to be installed by a company.
And this is an improvement for that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Questions?
The old one's going to where? Is it going to go to?
The old radios, the current radios that we have in our vehicles now, we would still have to maintain because we do still use the VHF for our fireground operations. So that's if like Park Forest, Richmond Park, even further north, or when we go to like Moments or something like that, we can all still communicate. So we still have a need for the VHF radios that we have in our current vehicles.
So DPW, not jumping out, DPW, did you guys, the radios you have, that came from the PD, right? And is everything going okay with those? You don't need a repeater, do you? Okay, because I was going to say, Ms. Scott, I just so happen to be on checking on my license, my ham license, but for some reason, UP radio repeater is still active. I'll print it and show you. that's free repeater usage. So, okay. I yield my times. But yes, this is something that is behind.
Give these documents to all right, see, how we doing? All right, he got me. We got love. All right, here we go. Hello, Mayor, trustees, residents, and other official agencies. I'm David Sevier. I'm the newly elected president for University Park Youth Baseball Organization. I want to provide everyone with an official. I want to provide everyone with an official update surrounding all the disinformation and communication that has been shared over the past 2 years. Attached to this letter is a copy of the official Appellate Court of Illinois ruling dated March 7, 2025, which has upheld the March 14, 2024 decision of the Circuit Court, and a copy of the minutes from April 4, 2024, removing Robin Walker as an officer of University Park Baseball Organization. The only individuals who have the authority to act on behalf of the organization are listed on this letterhead that this letter has been printed on. Any other individuals who claim to be a part of this organization are just clearly spreading lies and acting maliciously, as well as against the judge's order. We as a board have acted in good faith and good stewardship, and will continue to do so, even to the point of filing criminal charges against any individuals who continue to present themselves as an acting officer of this organization. It is not the intent of this organization to have to sue our neighbors, but if it becomes necessary to do so, we will do so without hesitation, as we just did civilly. None of the current board members acted improper or criminally, as has been suggested. These past 2 years have only affected our program and this community negatively, as this board decided to return all money, rewards, and donations received from third parties that would have helped to grow the program and assist with improvements to our fields and parks. This decision was made in hopes of requesting such funds at a later date without jeopardizing those efforts with the continual negative campaign that was created by Robin Walker and Sonia Jenkins Bell. It is our hope that we can work together for the benefit of the youth within our community and surrounding areas to provide a positive baseball, softball program. We look forward to working with your administration in any capacity that would help increase youth involvement in other programs to improve on the quality of life for all residents. That appellate court decision is attached for you all. You also have a copy of the minutes that removed Robin Walker as the president, so that we are all clear. Only these 4 officers listed on this letter have the authority to operate under University Park Baseball Organization. Thank you. Thank you.
But can I say this? I thought this was civic. In the past, we've always said this is civic, so I just was trying to understand.
I guess that's the public comment. He wants to have his public comments.
Right. The reason. The village doesn't have any. Right. The village doesn't have any skin in this game. But what was occurring was every time we tried to come to the village to get things done with the organization, there was interference that was being ran. So we knew that we had to go to court to get this resolved. So we went through the steps to go through the court to get this officially done civilly, which is what you have a copy of, is the court order telling you what the results of that was. Gives you the summary and the results.
Understood.
All-
Understood.
That's
Say, yeah, because we didn't want to have any involvement, so we don't want to give a have people had a wrong perception. That's all.
So, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So, Mayor, so this would be if Mr. Savier come or whatever agreement
With
they
receipts
have.
or whatever.
Right.
For reimbursement.
They are the ones that's recognized, not.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for the information. Ms. Mary Truss.
Good evening. You know, I know you guys get tired of hearing me say I've been here a long time, but I'm going to say it anyway. But a few of us got so tired of hearing people say there's nothing going on in this town, there's nothing out here. But a few of us who've been here a long time know that you make your own fun of whatever it is you do. So I'm a member of the Community Block Club in University Park. And we're always doing something here in University Park. And in case you guys didn't know, I'm going to remind you, this is National Women's Month. So in honor of National Women's Month, we all are going to get together and have a brunch bingo at our library here in University Park. And we're inviting you if you'd like to come. And I'm exercising my right, and I'm going to pass this out because I don't want you to be left out. I want you to know about it. We start on time, and we leave on time because that's a public institution that has to serve everybody. Okay? That's all. And we had a good, I'm sorry. Okay. We had a very good program here in this very room for Black History Month, and that was our 4th one. We'll also be given, last year, we created our motivational award to the students at 201U who had improved. These were students who had bad grades, bad character, or whatever, and they had improved and recognized by the school, so we gave them awards for it, and we wanted to reward them with instant gratification. So that's all I have to say, but to give you a piece of paper. Mm-hmm.
Positivity at the board meetings. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm always positive. That's the only reason why the village is still here.
No.
Can I
Okay.
comment behind that, Mr. Mayor? Can I just make a small?
Yes. Go ahead,
Yeah,
trustee.
I just want to say, Mayor, that
Oh, you're not talking to me, are you?
a lot of times that, really to be honest, the sentiment that I want to give about when people make comments of the board, I want to say at least these last 2 years of my term here, the second term, I have seen board members in the village do more for this community than ever, no matter what sect you may be in within the community, whether it's the car show, community block club. It turns out to be very beautiful events. And the community block club for the Black Heritage, it was very wonderful, Mayor, and I just want to thank this board. And I really want to give it up to Ms. Scott. She made sure that they had the key. DPW, thank you, Chris. Oh, Ms. Brooks is waving in the back. If I want to eat tonight. I better say thank you, Ms. Brooks. But I want to say that, board, I really appreciate everything, and Ms. Scott, thank you as well, because, I think it's different than what it was 10 years ago. So that's what I want to yield to, sir.
I had a public comment, and unfortunately, she's at another meeting, so I'll make her public comment. She wanted to remind everybody that early voting starts Monday at the library, 1100 Black Hawk Avenue in University Park. And she also wanted to have everybody reminded about a candidates forum at First Baptist Church of University Park, 450 University Parkway. And this is coming when? What's the date? What's the date? It March 16th at 3 p.m. at First Baptist Church. So those are Ms. Debbie Strauss' public comments. I got them for you, Ms. Debbie. Ms. Sonia Jenkins, come on with our last public comment.
Good evening, board, mayor. It's Women's Month High. Congratulations to all the women on the board. We are powerful as one unit, as women. I want to take the time to address University Park's baseball organization. When I won the first election in 2019, I asked Robin Walker to help us restart the baseball organization. Myself and Greg Barksdale put money together to get it to become a 501c3. I gave tirelessly to this organization. I believed in it, I supported it, I worked for it, and for an individual to come here and try to tear down my good name for something that I've done for the children in University Park's betterment is a travesty in Women's Month. The Black woman is the most disrespected woman in the world. And for someone to come in here that has not put forth a dollar, dime, or donut to start the organization and try to disgrace me and my family, I have a major problem. But it's okay, because I will continue to do what I've been doing for the children in University Park. During COVID, myself and my daughter got up every day for 2 years and fed the children that needed to be fed in this community. From over at Creekmoney High School to this village, because they had no way to get their lunch.
So trustee, Ms. Sonia, just 1 second, stop. Let me stop you 1 second. No, listen, here, I want you to hear me, and I want you to understand. We don't want to use this as a platform for, hear me out, please. No, you're going to hear me out, or you're going to lead the mic?
I'm going to lead the mic.
All right, then lead the mic. Can I have a motion for adjournment? Wait, 1 second, 1 second.
If I could, everybody's aware April 1st is Election Day. You might be wondering why we have not received, just wanted to give notice. As of today's date, I have not received from the Will County Clerk's Office the ballot certification. They are hoping to have that finished and to me by the end of the week, or at the latest on March 17th. They did ask that I could convey that early voting starts March 17th. And those people who need and want to vote absentee and mail-in ballots, those mail-in ballot lists would be going out to the residents who's on that permanent list of voting absentee. So that I wanted everybody to be aware. And as of right now, they have only confirmed one voting site for early voting in Will County, which will be the University Park Library. They did say because of the primary and a newly elected county clerk, things are not running basically as smoothly and on the same time frame as usual. Okay? But as I always say, I have nothing else to say but your vote's your voice. Vote on April 1st.
Hold on, yeah, you said the only early voting location in Will County is the library?
No, I did not say
Oh, I thought
that.
that's what you said.
I said they could only confirm
Confirm.
that the University Park Library,
Okay.
yeah. And those now Cook County has already been taken care of at their normal schedule, but they ask for your patience. And I can't say that. They could only confirm
Okay.
University Park Library.
All right, thank you.
Because I know Moni is no longer, they used to do early voting. Crete used to do over the last few years. I know Moni is not, but I can't say about Crete. They only confirmed University Park Library.
Madam Clerk, so on April 1st, the results will be no April Fool's joke? I had to come with it.
I was first elected on April 1st.
All right. May I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None.
Who made the motion? Who made the motion? Who seconded? Anybody? Okay.